Hello and welcome to Hobbies, Handicrafts, and Home Economics. Today I am painting my Emperor's Children Marines for the Legion Imperialis and trying to do an ASMR. I have learned that apparently that means talking or other sort of audio stimulation rather than music, as my previous. I'm starting with white scar for my capes and shoulder pads, and I'll be talking about the Emperor's Children throughout. My base coat is Luxian purple airbrushed on over the white scar primer. All of these are Citadel paints. Not that they're paying me for advertising, but it is good paint. I really like it. So while I'm painting in the background, I'm going to tell you about the Emperor's Children. As the third legion of the Emperor's 18 legions in Warhammer, they may have had some problems. Their Primarch Fulgrim was obsessed with perfection, and that may have gone wrong, turning them into hedonistic psychopaths. Uh, Apparently, they were known after they fell as the Lords of Profligacy, although I need to look up more references for that. They wore purple and gold, which is what I'm going to be painting here. Yes, I am using a lot of white, and there will be a lot of silver later, but gold is good for trim. It goes really well with purple. By the 41st millennium, which is where most Warhammer 40K games take place, they've switched over to black, pink, and gold in a much more riotous pattern, which might have been easier to paint. But this is the one I chose, so this is the one I'll do. Uh, in their earliest accounts, the Third Legion, before they got their name, were from noble houses selected by the Emperor following their defeat by the Thunder Warriors, who were basically bigger, meaner space marines. Uh, they later, as nobles, adopted the name the Emperor's Children, a name which was reaffirmed by Fulgrim. One of their distinctions was that they would cooperate with and even lead the Imperial Army. So they had a lot of normal people hanging out with them. They are, of course, not normal. During the Crusade, they often had diplomatic missions because they were very good at diplomacy, perfection, being nice and friendly. They also were the only legion to bear the Aquila, which later, after the heresy, oh, I'm switching paints. Which color? Nope, just shaking up the white. Not switching paints yet. Uh, so the Aquila, which by the 41st millennium is on every Space Marine, was unique to them during the heresy, and they earned it following the loss of an entire cohort defending the Emperor, who was wounded by a vortex weapon. Later on, disaster struck them. Their gene seed was lost, or actually stolen. Trazen the Infinite was responsible. He's a Necron. They're interesting. If you like undead zombie robots, Necrons are a place to look. I'm not going to talk about them too much, though. I don't play them. Uh, there was also then a plot that corrupted the Emperor's Children gene seed more widely than any other legion and tends to make them fall apart. Rapid deployment of reserves, purging the infected, and salvaging their progenoid glands, which are the bits used to make more space marines, sort of helped, but they never really recovered, which kept them pretty small. The whole legion only really numbered in the hundreds throughout the entire process. They found Fulgrim with when Fulgrim was found, he was found with only 200 Marines to his legion. So they had a lot to prove. They normally fought alongside Horus and his Luna wolves. Ultimately, Horus would go on to become the biggest bad the Emperor had faced, and the Luna wolves would become the Black Legion, as those of you who know 40K are well aware. Uh, they fought alongside him until the Ulanor Crusade and Horus's promotion. Eventually, that led to bad things for the Imperium. Once they were able to recruit from Chemos, the Emperor's children finally mustered strength to undertake their own crusade, and they led the 28th Expedition Fleet. Crushing resistance, an attempt to achieve perfection. They had the martial zenith of their perfection, fighting against the Laern. That was messy, and that ultimately led them to very, very bad things. Uh, they did lose 700 Marines in that campaign, and ultimately that's where Fulgrim found the sword, the Blade of Laer, which really is responsible for his fall almost entirely. Continuing the Horus Heresy, though, Fulgrim really should not have taken that sword. It was possessed by Slaanesh, or one of Slaanesh's followers, and swayed Fulgrim to support Horus rather than oppose Horus. This then spread to his Lord Commanders, then to the company and squad leaders, and finally only a few Marines followed the Emperor. The remaining loyalists, led by Saul Tarvitz, were overwhelmed on Isstvan III as Horus and his three already joined Primarchs wiped out the loyalists from their legions. That was the Drop Site Massacre. Eventually, they would fight the Iron Hands. Fulgrim would slay Ferrus Manus, his best friend and closest brother, who led the Iron Hands. And a few Black Shield warbands remained. Sometime later, Fulgrim created his new base. Wow, this is taking a lot of time, isn't it? I really did have a lot of. Did I switch over to Leadbelcher while I wasn't looking? I did. I switched over to Leadbelcher. Also Citadel paint. This one is really good for gunmetal. Back to the story. Where was I? Fulgrim made his new base. Then Fulgrim would be ascended by Slaanesh. And after that, the Emperor's children really split up into smaller warbands. Some accompanied Fulgrim, others took their own missions. A third of the Legion remained under the control of Eidolon, who was should have died several times. Really, what was what were they thinking putting his head back on? That's a story for another video. That group under Eidolon attempted to destroy the White Scars, not successfully. Obviously, they're still around. And then they did not really hang out on Terra during the Siege of Terra. Uh, so they kind of disappeared. Lorgar was able to find Fulgrim, but not really do much. He made him join, and they did actually make it to Terra, but they didn't really help. The Emperor's children wanted to just go out and slaughter people to render them down for drugs. Yeah, that didn't help. Turns out I play a very bad army, but that's the end. What I'm painting for is the beginning. So before all of that had gone wonky, while they still had some decency, while they were assaulting Terra, Chemos got blown up, totally destroyed. Too bad for them. And then after the heresy, I was kind of hoping I'd have more story here. Because what I'm painting is not for after the heresy. They did lots of things. Not sure what to talk about next. Maybe I'll just hum for a little bit. I've got 11 more minutes of video, I think. Yes, it looks like 11 more minutes of video. Next time, I think I'll take requests for what to talk about. That would be smart. Um, so, organizing. Pre-heresy, like the other legions, they would be divided into smaller companies. Although they started out small, they would be led by the Lord Commanders under Fulgrim, his elites, each given authority over the company commanders. Those were taught personally by Fulgrim, taking care that they were worthy of the honor of representing the Emperor. In turn, they would pass their word, Fulgrim's words, to the officers under their command, and they to their squads. So each ultimately followed the Emperor and strove for perfection in all things. Battlefield doctrine to the letter, tactics and strategy studied minutely and perfected, decrees memorized by every Marine and adhered to in every way. They bordered on fanatical, but still considered him just to be a man. The Emperor was just a man. Good one, but just a man. Like most legions. The Emperor's children developed their combat mythology reflected in their size. By the time they were led into rebellion, they had 11,000 Marines in 30 millennials, the first 10 of which each had a Lord Commander, and each company inherited its manner and practices from said commander. They were very devoted to those commanders. They strove, of course, for perfection. That is their thing. All of them, regardless of their job. And they had no librarians. They did not like psychers and believed the mutation that allowed it to be a flaw, which perfection, no flaws. They didn't allow it. Every aspect of battle they could analyze was used to their advantage, whether terrain, weather, deployment, reserves, as well as the standard formations. They had specialized units, uh, Sun Killers, Palatine Blades, Phoenix Guard, the Wings of the Phoenician, elite companies of las cannons, duelists, terminators, and assault companies in turn. In combat, they fought like any other Space Marine, sustained not merely by the example of their peers, but by their individual belief in duty. They would do the best they could, again, in an attempt for perfection. They had their tactical rule book. When ground assaults needed heavy weapons and air cover, land speeders could do both. So take it. If a particular aspect of their textbook approach broke down, then they would still fight with determination while an alternate tactic was selected from the repertoire. Fast attack was preferred, and the Legion did make use of high-speed vehicles like jet bikes, both for swift and elegant style, and practical considerations since they really did not have the ability to take the attrition that others could. They also entertained a warrior lodge, and of course the warrior lodges, if you've read the Horus Heresy, were directly responsible for much of what went wrong. And we're back to white now that the first coat of white dried. Gotta get that nice crisp color. And going to white over a bright color like this is difficult, but necessary. And we're back to after the heresy stuff. Their organization kind of fell apart. They're considered one of the Shattered Legions, and really are just a bunch of warbands. Senseless Indulgence. Many are now Noise Marines, twisted by the screams and, well, drugs. They use lots of sonic weapons. Well, I managed to get, 15 minutes. 15 minutes I got. Looks like I've still got 15 minutes more. Hmm. What to talk about? What to talk about? Hmm. What else can I talk about for 5 more minutes? 10 more? How long is this video? Maybe it's 25 minutes and I've been miscounting my calculations. Oh, look, I want a gold. So this Retributor armor, again, Citadel, is my favorite gold metallic. It's a bright yellow gold, as opposed to many more common red golds. And I very much like the metallics from Games Workshop, from Citadel. I think they go on quite smoothly and are very easy to paint with. Huh. So talking for 20 minutes is, or 25 minutes, maybe 29 minutes. My video editing says 29 and a half minutes. I didn't realize how hard it was to talk for half an hour. So, I don't know. I could tell you what? What could I tell you? What else do I have to tell you? Maybe I should make these videos shorter. Ah, once again, changing colors. Mornfang Brown. This is a very good color for leather, especially on these tiny miniatures because it's a little bit more of a vibrant brown than muddy. I don't even need to shade it, but you can see I'm using it for the belts on my Cataphractii Terminators. I really hope they come out with a Tartarus Terminator kit because those are much more suitable to my army aesthetically. Like speed. And as soon as the jet bike kit comes out, I will have speed. You'll notice the Terminators also have hanging belts off of their shoulders that needed detailed. I didn't talk about what brush I'm using yet. It's the Testers. Oh man, I destroyed that brush. I think it's the 02. Anyway, lots of tiny brown. Guess I could go to the, yeah, let's go to the armory. The kind of weapons that the Emperor's children use. Well, that's not a very helpful list, I guess. Yeah, that's a very helpful list. It doesn't separate them from 30K and 40K, so I'm not gonna do that. Hmm. Dry your brush, obviously. When did I go back? What is this? One of my videos got out of order. That is interesting. I think one of my videos clips got out of order because I'm suddenly back to painting white that was already painted. You all saw that too. I'm not sure where my next cut is. So cool, I guess you get to watch me doing this part again. Um, that would certainly have shortened the video. See if I can find anything else. No, I guess there's really not much more I can say on this part of the Emperor's Children stuff. So we'll just watch it with you and explain I'm doing white on the feet because I am doing marble bases. Nice, crisp, white bases. There was a lot of cloth on these models in retrospect. Um, yeah, why is this clip out of order? Now, more editing to come, I guess. I will have to work on that one. You're probably getting bored of hearing me talk. So I'm gonna just hums along for a little while. Clean my brush a lot. It's very important you clean your brush, especially these testers ones that get paint up in the ferrule and that wrecks the glue. Oh, this is where that clip was supposed to go because here's the lead belcher coming out and actually being recorded. That's how it changed without me noticing. I was missing a clip. Should have happened sooner. Okay, so lead belcher, good for weapons and other armor parts. It's nice, heavy, dark steel color. Yes, I did have to touch up the little bits where they're still making contact with the sprue. There were not actually a whole lot of those to clean up. You'll notice that the infantry largely are attached to the sprue by the bottom of their foot base, which means I did not have to particularly clean or repaint them before gluing them to the bases. I think I need to lift my camera higher, don't I? Well, you'll probably all comment on that. I've got 5 more minutes of video, so probably just about to get to the last little clip shortly. Um, let's see. Yeah, so lead belcher, retributor armor, and white scar armor are my major colors. They're the ones that I use for the vast majority of the detailing on my models. Small, big, all of them. Luxian purple is the base that I used for my Marines, and I'll probably do a night video in the future because I use different colors for that. I will need to come up with something else to talk about during that, and I'm not sure what I'll come up with. If you have recommendations, comments are open. I will accept criticisms and ideas. I'd prefer positive criticisms to negative ones, honestly. But what you got? Where else? So yeah, lead belcher for all of the weapons, every bit of exposed metal. You can see the missile launchers there and the all by themselves. They're the largest chunks of lead belcher. And how did my gold clip and brown clip get after my lead belcher? Is that what happened on my sorting? Oops. So note to self, pay more attention when editing the videos. And apparently I actually finished painting them 2 clips ago with that brown. So we're gonna finish this out. We've got 3 more minutes actually on the clock. In about 2 minutes, I'm going to be putting up the display to like and subscribe. And I guess I can talk for a half hour, more or less. Um, this is, of course, just a combat battle ready paint job, not parade ready paint job. Notably, I only have really 3 colors and there are no shades whatsoever except that which was inherent in the Luxian purple. The tiny jump pack dudes were probably the hardest to do correctly just because some of them also were connected at the top of their jetpacks. So I had to be more careful on that. Um, these guys that I'm working on right now, I believe are just regular bolt guns. The plasma is 3 rows up. And Terminators are the row above missile launchers. Thinking it was 2 rows of bolt guns, 1 row of plasma, 1 row of missile launchers, 1 row of Terminators, and then 2 dreadnoughts. And on the other end was the command squad and the jump packs. You can see them at the bottom. The jump packs being the assault squads. That's what I'm painting at this moment. That that is one of the jump packs, yes. The banner is part of the command squad. And oh yes, it does appear to be time to put the videos up. So like, subscribe, comment below. I accept all of the above. And thank you for watching. 30 seconds left and the video ends kind of weirdly. I'll get this down. I will get this down. Oh, well, I was almost done with the lead belcher by the time I actually saw it come up. And video ending now.